Hey, Rockstars, Andrew Houston here from Profit for Contractors. Before you do another quote, I need you to pay attention to some of these strategies and the insights of the effects of decreasing and increasing your prices. Now, we're going to start off today about the effects of decreasing, our prices. So the effects of decreasing our prices. And it's not just about decreasing our prices. It's about decreasing our profits as well, okay? They actually go hand in hand. Let's say that we got, a $1 million contractor. So we're gonna look at a $1 million contracting business. Now, your sales are gonna be different than this $1 million, but the principles are gonna be exactly the same. So let's say we got this $1 million contractor, and the $1 million contractor currently does 30% as far as his margins go, okay? As far as his profitability goes. So what does that equate to? That equates to $300K in profits, okay? 30% of $1 million, pretty simple, right? So what's the big deal? Well, let's just say that this contractor decides, hey man, I need to get more work, I need to be busier, and to do that, I'm gonna try and be more competitive, and in essence, I'm gonna go and lower my margins just by 10%. Let's take a look at what happens with this. At 20% of $1 million, what's that give us? That gives us really simple math, 200K in profits. Now, this is where I need you to pay close attention. The delta between the 300 and the 200 is what? 100K. Well, get ready, drum roll. Here it comes. At 20% margin, because that's where they're at right now. They would have to do how much? How much sales would they have to do to make up the 100K? That's the key question we've got to ask ourselves today, okay? The amount would be 500K. $500,000 in more sales to make up for the $100,000. That means that they would have to basically have a $1.5 million business, a 50, not a 10, not a 20, not a 30, not a 40, 50% more in sales just to do what? Just to make up for the $100,000 that they've lost. Now that they're at 10% lower in their pricing. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, it is deadly. Okay, a 50% increase, okay, is going to crush this contracting business. You probably wouldn't get these insights even from your bookkeeper, your accountant. You need to get these insights from somebody who's been there, done that, and has solved these problems. So if we look at this right now, okay, and we look at our chart here, money on the bottom, time on the side, and we're at the starting point right here. Okay, there's a certain amount of time we're putting into the business. There's a certain amount of money that we're putting into the business. Now watch what happens. A 50% increase in sales means what? All of a sudden, this disastrous graph starts coming to life. Why? We end up having to do what? We end up having to do more quotes. You know it and I know it. We don't win all the frickin' business that we quote. There's either, you're probably at a 20%, 50%, maybe 60, 70% conversion rate from your quote to win ratio. But guess what happens? To get more sales, we got to do more quotes. We got to do more quotes. And what happens with more quotes? We got to do more. Oh, we love this one. Paperwork, right? More quotes, more paperwork, and not just more paperwork because of all the quoting that we have to do and gathering our numbers and things of that nature. But guess what? We have more paperwork that we have to do because we have to do more work. More work in ordering materials, right? More logistics, right? We have to increase our team exponentially. We're dealing with people. We're dealing with time, and we're dealing with materials, and we're dealing with money, okay? So our team now has to increase. Now you tell me, how easy is that in this world today? It's super, super hard unless you've got proven systems and processes. But the reality is that there's not a lot of tradespeople out there to help us right? There's not a lot of tradespeople for us to pull from to try and hire. And that's a whole paperwork nightmare in itself. And if we're lucky enough to get the team members, guess what? How much more time do we have to put in to manage these team members? What else happens? Well, we end up having to manage more material, okay? i.e. stock, okay? Our inventory ends up having to go up because we have what, 50% more work. We got to make sure we got the right, tools, the right equipment. And what happens innately when we start to lower our prices? We attract more Class D clients. And what happens with more Class D clients? Well, more Class D clients means that we tend to get more callbacks. Why do we get more callbacks? We get more callbacks, guys, because you can never satisfy a Class D deadbeat client, okay? And not only do we get more callbacks because of that, we're getting more callbacks because the complexity of our business has gone through the roof exponentially. All because, oh my God, Andrew. Right, all because, Andrew, we only freaking decreased our pricing by 10%. This is the effects, the deadly effects. Now, what else happens in this graph? Okay, something that is a complete, utter disaster. If that is like the line of zero, right? That's zero. All of our time has gone through the roof. All of our risks have gone through the roof. And what has gone down? I'm going to tell you what's gone down. You know it, and I know it. There's two things that go down dramatically. Right off the gate, our profits tank. Because if we had any cracks in our foundation right now, our inefficiencies, anything that there's weakness, guess what? Now the crevices have opened, okay? Now we have more issues. Why? Because we have that much more team members to support. We have that much more work to manage. We've got that many more callbacks coming in. You got that much more material, and our profits tank. Not only just by the 10% that we lowered it, but even more so because of our inefficiencies have created more and more inefficiencies and more disaster. What else happens? Our cash flow, right? We often wonder, where the hell's all of our cash? Well, our cash flow tanks because what they don't realize is that contractors, in essence, we end up being a bit of a bank in this type of scenario. Why? We end up having to be the bank because we have to manage that much more material. We got to pay for our material costs before we get paid. We got to pay for our employees and our payroll before we get paid, okay? And this doesn't include all these Class D deadbeat clients who don't want to pay us, and that ties up our cash flow. And in essence, we don't have cash flow, okay? We have a cash deficit. And so these are the key things, guys. I gotta get you to understand, all by the effects of, in this example, this $1 million contractor just lowering their prices by 10%, and look at the effects on their business. And let's get rock and rolling on the effects of increasing our prices and our profits. All right. So let's say we got this, what, $1 million business again. There's this $1 million contractor. Remember back when we talked about where they were at before? They're at 30% profitability, 300K in profits, same as before, nothing's changed, right? Principles of math. But let's say that they're able to increase their profitability by just 10%. So now we're going on the other side of the fence, okay? Remember, we're trying to get to, let's say the 300K, we're trying to get to the 300K profit. Get ready for this. They would only have to do $750,000, guys. Not $1 million, $750,000 to make the same $300,000 in profits. The difference between, right, that as far as sales goes, the difference between, the $1 million, okay, and the 750 is what? $250,000. team, they could do $250,000 less in sales and still make the same profit. As a matter of fact, anything between $1 million and $750,000, they're actually making more, what? More profits, okay? With 25% less sales. The other way, we had to get 50% more sales. Now we can do 25% less work, less effort, okay? Let's go back to our graph. Less quotes. That's right. And usually it's not just 25% less quotes. Again, if your conversion rate was 50%, as far as your quote to win ratio, okay, you could do a significantly less amount of quotes, okay, to get the same amount of net result, if not greater net result. You can do less paperwork, less work, less team members required, less material, less stock, less inventory to manage, less Class D clients. As a matter of fact, what are we going to attract? We are going to attract more Class A clients, because Class A clients are willing to pay for our value. What else reduces? Because we don't have to manage, because we can manage 25% less work, our callbacks go down because we have a way less complex business. Our tools, need for, our overhead on tools, on our ladders, okay, on the trucks that we need, okay? Our risk factor as a whole goes down exponentially. Our cash flow ends up going up. Our profits end up going up, and our risk ends up going down exponentially. Anything between $1 million and $750,000, okay? This contractor, okay, they could turn away 10%, 15%, 20%, anything below 25%, right? In difference in sales, and they're actually making more profits, doing less and getting more. But hopefully this gave you the insights to answer some of the questions of like, where's all my money going? How is it that, my sales have increased? How is it that I'm working harder and getting less? This is part of the answer to that question, especially when we start taking your numbers and applying to these principles. Maybe you're $1.5 million business, maybe you're 10 million, maybe you're $500,000, it doesn't matter. These principles are the same, and we have to apply them to your business. I'm Andrew Houston from Profit for Contractors. Okay, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Hey Rockstar, if this video resonated with you at all and you want a proven plan and pathway to take your contracting business to the next level with me and my team of experts, click the link below and apply for a free 50-minute pathway to Profits Call.